This is NDTV. And you're watching NDTV Hindu.
It wasn't me, cries out Kalanya TV, denies links to the money trail, claims that the IT department knew about the transactions. The DMK chief is back with his wordplay, fends off charges of money trail, cites a personal vendetta behind Amma's allegations. But Amma is not keeping quiet, trains her guns on the DMK's first family, argues that they should be probed as well. Double murder case rocks the city. Mylapore is on the edge after the incident shocks the locals. Chirping birds give way to cries by loud shopkeepers. Kalakshetra colony is fast turning into a chaotic commercial hub. Milk producers continue with their unrest, demand hike in the prices of milk. Rajnikant now scores with a bestseller. The book Panchatantra, inspired by Rajni's one-liners, breaches the 5,000 copies mark. And get ready for yet another 3D adventure this weekend, courtesy of Sanctum. Well, a very good evening and welcome to Late Night News with me, Ashmit Kumar. A lot is happening that you need to know about. We'll of course get to all of that in just a bit. But first, a look at developments from across the world. Hosni Mubarak concedes to protesters' demands, steps down as president. Egypt breaks into celebrations. Sibul tells NDTV that Arun Shoury's allegations now that the Prime Minister did not act on his complaints are baseless. Rules were tweaked to help Tata Teleservices during the NDA regime, says the Justice Patil report. And how skipper Dhoni sat on the other side for once with the media as players giving interviews. First up in stories, in news just coming in, Egypt's vice president says Hosni Mubarak has resigned as president and handed control over to the military. Now, car horns were heard around Cairo in celebration after Vice President Omar Suleiman made the announcement on national television. He said, and I quote, "In these difficult circumstances that the country is passing through, President Hosni Mubarak has decided to leave the position of the presidency." Now, Mubarak has commissioned the Armed Forces Council to direct the issues of the state. Now, meanwhile, Egypt's opposition leader Al-Baredi cried out that this is the greatest day of his life. He also said that the country has been liberated. Well, Barkha Dutt, the group editor of NDTV, who has been keenly tracking the events in Egypt, gave us a sense of the nature and impact of this momentous development.
It's actually been an astounding pace of contradictory developments. You had Mubarak not stepping down last night, then you had the army today actually backing him and saying that he would stay on till September, and then suddenly the vice president, who's also been the country's intelligence chief, comes out and announces that he's decided to step down amidst rumors that Mubarak and his family had earlier in the day left for the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh. Something obviously changed in the last 24 hours. Of course, there was also President Barack Obama's statement asking for an immediate transition. Washington caught on the wrong foot after the CIA chief had virtually announced to the U.S. Congress that Hosni Mubarak would be stepping down last night. What will raise a few alarm bells, though, is Omar Suleiman's announcement that the military will be in charge, at least in the interim. Many people will be concerned, many activists on the street, of course, who will be concerned about whether this is some sort of taking over as opposed to a democratic movement for change. But yes, the events have been changing so quickly. It's actually difficult to make sense of them, because just a few hours ago you had the statement from the military saying that they backed Hosni Mubarak and he would stay on till September. And then the rumors began, as they had yesterday, that he left for Sharm el-Sheikh. This time those reports appear to be true, that in advance, perhaps faced with the wrath of Tahrir Square erupting last night, he had no choice, because many of those protesters were actually marching, this being Friday, the holy day, towards the presidential palace.
Well, pictures of turmoil there coming in from Egypt, and here in the state as well, we are seeing turmoil, but of a very different kind. As the 2G saga unfolds, a talk of the money trail was hit much too close to comfort for some members of the ruling alliance. Now, the line of investigations being pursued by the CBI has put Kalenya TV on the radar. Now, keep in mind that the Chief Minister's family enjoys a majority stake in the channel. And the investigating agencies are looking into a 214 crore transaction with Cineyug. However, Kalenya has denied any link with the 2G scam and said that Cineyug had indeed invested in its shares earlier. But owing to valuation differences, it was treated as a loan. The channel clarified that their 200 crore rupee loan was returned with interest in 2009. Now, Kalenya TV also said that there was nothing illegal about the transaction because they had followed all the rules and that the Income Tax Department was made aware of these developments. And well, for the first time since the CBI revealed that they were exploring a possible money trail leading up to Kalenya TV, the Chief Minister came out and addressed the media. The DMK chief came out with a carefully guarded response. He also lashed out at Jayalalitha for terming his family members as co-accused in the 2G scam case. The leader of the opposition, Jayalalitha, is not staying quiet. She has said that the DB group paid kickbacks to Raja and Karunanidhi indirectly. Now, the AIDMK Supremo further added that Karunanidhi and his family members should be named as co-accused in the 2G spectrum scam case. Now, Jayalalitha also fired salvos at Shahid Balwa, saying that he had transferred nearly 210 crore rupees from 11 companies to Kusegaon Fruits and Vegetables, and that they had transferred 206 crore rupees to Cineyug Films. She pointed at the Cineyug's balance sheet, saying that it shows an unsecured loan of 206 crore rupees to Kalenya TV. Well, just as these investigations into the 2G scam go deeper, more skulls are coming out of the corporate closet. The latest to stand in the line of fire is from the Tata stable, Tata Teleservices. In the latest revelation from the Justice Patil report, the Tata Telecom major was one of the main beneficiaries of the stipulated procedures being twisted during the NDA regime. Now, the report alleges that the rules were twisted and manipulated to suit certain corporate interests. Now, the report also gives a detailed picture of just how exactly Swan Telecom benefited during Raja's tenure as the telecom minister. The report says, and I quote, telecom officials raised doubts over Swan Telecom's equity holding. Telecom officials also questioned Swan's eligibility twice in January of 2008. Now, Telecom Secretary S. Behura overruled these objections. Behura also said that Swan fulfilled eligibility criteria. Now, the minister, here not mentioning Raja, approved of Swan's application. The report also talks about how the Tatas benefited during the NDA regime when Arun Shourie was in charge. And while speaking to NDTV's Barkha Dutt, Kapil Sibal raised the ante against the telecom minister during the NDA regime, Arun Shourie. Dismissing Shourie's allegations about the Prime Minister, Kapil Sibal challenged the former telecom minister to prove his charges.
Under your watch as telecom minister, the Justice Patil committee. Now, your friend Arun Shourie says that this is a perversity, this committee. He calls you an advocate for A. Raja. He says that Justice Patil did not call one person to interrogate, to question while he drafted his report.
I must be a very poor advocate. That
he might say that.
The person who I'm advocating for is in jail. The person who I'm advocating for, there's a one-man committee that I set up, which has castigated the functioning of the ministry at that point in time. I must be a wonderful advocate that I'm going against my own client, but be that as it may, I think he must be angry.
Why would he be angry?
I don't know. You have to ask.
But he raises an important principle, yes, which is that should the Justice Patil committee have drawn up its report without questioning people?
No, exactly. Now, what has he found? He has found that the first come, first serve policy itself is contrary to a cabinet decision of 31st of October 2003, right?
Yeah.
And that the first come, first serve could not have been put in place by the then minister. That's what he has found. And that new entrants in the telecom sector had to go through a multi-stage bidding process, as was the cabinet decision.
But the fact
That's
is,
what he has found.
But the fact is,
now in that you don't have to look, go to any, you don't have to interview any people, because this is all part of documentation.
Arun Shourie says that you apparently said that the Prime Minister was informed by A. Raja of every decision he was taking at every time.
Forget about Arun Shourie, please. I mean, let's not. What Arun Shourie said, he must prove. Right? If I am fabricating anything, he must prove it.
But there is still...
And the channel that set it out must say what I fabricated.
Okay, so let's leave Arun Shourie on one side.
Let's leave all this, because all these things are said sometimes, you know, at the moment.
Well, there are other problems as well plaguing the state. Milk producers are demanding a hike in milk prices. Strike a comparison with prices of water. We get you more details about the statewide unrest on other side.